Have you ever noticed a faint ringing in your ears when the house goes quiet at night? Or a strange pressure that comes and goes for no obvious reason? Maybe when you stand up, there's that brief moment where the room feels slightly off, not enough to scare you, just enough to make you pause. Most people dismiss these things instantly. It's just age, probably sinuses, nothing serious. But here's the question no one ever asks. Why did these signs show up in the ears first? Why not the chest? Why not the legs? And why do so many people experience them years before anything else feels wrong? The unsettling truth is that ear symptoms feel harmless, so they're ignored, and that's exactly why they're dangerous. These signals don't hurt, they don't stop you from walking, they don't interfere with daily life, so people wait, sometimes for years. And by the time they realize something deeper is going on, the problem has already moved on to places that are much harder to ignore. Here's what most people never realize until it's too late. The ears are often where circulation problems introduce themselves quietly, long before they make noise elsewhere. And while the ears complain early, the legs tend to suffer silently. Heavy legs at the end of the day, calves that tire faster than they used to, feet that feel cold even in warm rooms. What makes this unsettling is the timing. Many people had the ear signs years earlier, never knowing the two were connected. The body doesn't warn all at once. It warns in stages. And if the first stage feels small, people assume the rest will be too. That assumption is where most people get it wrong, because once circulation struggles in places as sensitive as the ears, it's rarely staying there. And what happens next often depends on habits people believe are protecting them, but quietly aren't. When legs start feeling weaker, most people reach the same conclusion almost instantly. It must be muscle loss. Maybe they're not walking enough. Maybe they've slowed down too much. Maybe this is just the body doing what bodies do over time. So they respond the responsible way. They push themselves a little more, try to stay active, maybe even ignore the heaviness because they don't want to give in. And on the surface, that sounds sensible. But here's the uncomfortable question almost no one stops to ask. If this is really about losing muscle, why does the weakness feel so inconsistent? Why do some days feel manageable while others feel strangely heavy before you've even done anything? Why does your stamina disappear faster than it used to, even though your effort hasn't changed? Muscles don't suddenly become unreliable for no reason. What they depend on, constantly, is supply. Not in theory, but in experience. When blood flow slows, legs don't just lose strength, they lose confidence. They tire sooner, they feel unsteady faster. They give up earlier than you expect, even on familiar routes or simple tasks. And this is where many well-meaning people unknowingly work against themselves. They assume the solution is more effort, more walking, more pushing through. But when circulation is the limiting factor, pushing harder doesn't solve the problem. It quietly magnifies it. The muscles ask for more support, and the body can't deliver it at the same pace. That's why some people stay active, do everything right, and still notice their legs recovering more slowly, feeling heavier afterward, or losing endurance week by week. The mistake isn't movement, it's misunderstanding what the movement depends on. And here's the part most people don't realize until much later. When circulation weakens, the legs aren't just affected first, they're affected last, which means the warning signs show up late, progress quietly, and take longer to reverse if you wait too long to recognize what's really happening. Here's the part almost no one thinks about, even though it's happening to nearly everyone as they age. Blood doesn't reach your legs as easily as it once did. You've heard people talk about circulation, but rarely is it explained in a way that actually connects to how your legs feel every day. Think about it. Your heart pumps tirelessly. Your arteries deliver nutrients, but the legs are farthest from the source. They're literally last in line, and being last in line has consequences you can feel. Heaviness in the calves, that strange tightness after standing, feet that get cold even when the room is warm. Most people shrug it off or chalk it up to fatigue, but the truth is harsher. These sensations are warning signs that blood isn't moving as efficiently as it should. What makes it worse is that this happens slowly, almost imperceptibly. Day by day, step by step, your legs quietly adapt to getting less support. That's why some people notice sudden cramps or imbalance out of nowhere. It's not random, it's the culmination of months or years of undernourished muscles. And here's the hidden twist. The very habits people believe protect their circulation, long walks, stretching, staying active, don't always help if the blood itself isn't flowing smoothly. In fact, doing more on top of weakened circulation can make the legs complain faster than they would have otherwise. The ear signals from Module 1, they were just the first hint. By the time heaviness and fatigue show up in the legs, the problem has been quietly building for years. And the frightening part most people never realize is that this silent slowdown doesn't stay subtle forever. Eventually, it begins to limit mobility, reduce confidence with every step, and make even familiar activities feel surprisingly difficult, all while the rest of the body seems fine. Almost no one is told this, which is why it feels sudden when the legs finally start speaking up. But there's something even stranger, something almost nobody notices, that can accelerate this slowdown, and it's hiding in habits we assume are harmless, even healthy. Here's the part almost no one talks about. Even when you think you're doing everything right, eating vegetables, taking multivitamins, staying active, your body may still not be getting what it really needs to keep blood flowing smoothly to your legs. After 60, your body's way of absorbing nutrients changes quietly, without a warning sign. You might be popping supplements every morning, feeling reassured, but the truth is harsh. What goes into your stomach doesn't always reach the places that need it most. Blood vessels, especially the tiny ones feeding the muscles and extremities, rely on specific vitamins and minerals to stay flexible, strong, and open. Miss the right combination, or take them in the wrong way, and even healthy habits stop working the way you expect. That's why so many people wonder why their legs fatigue so quickly, even though they exercise, eat well, and follow advice they thought was solid. It's not laziness, it's not weakness, it's that your body is quietly struggling to use what you give it, and without that, circulation suffers silently. The unsettling part is that almost no one realizes this until the signs become hard to ignore. Stiffness, heaviness, coldness, and that subtle giving out feeling in the calves that make you hesitate before standing or walking. And yet, there's a vitamin, or a few key nutrients, that most people completely overlook, something that specifically helps blood vessels and muscle endurance in the legs. Almost nobody mentions it for circulation after 60, which is why the problem feels mysterious. But in the next module, you'll see exactly which vitamin plays this hidden role and why simply taking any supplement isn't enough. Timing, combination, and absorption matter as much as the nutrient itself. Now, here's the part almost no one talks about. A vitamin that doesn't just support general health, but directly helps blood flow to your legs, keeps muscles fueled, and quietly prevents that creeping heaviness you've probably been ignoring. Most people think all vitamins are interchangeable, or that a daily multivitamin solves the problem, but the truth is sharper. The right vitamin at the wrong time or in the wrong form does almost nothing. The vitamin we're talking about works on the tiny vessels in your legs, the ones that carry oxygen, nutrients, and energy to the muscles that lift you, move you, and support every step. When levels drop, even slightly, blood flow slows and muscles tire faster. The difference can be subtle at first, a slight heaviness after walking, that odd tightness in calves, the "my legs just feel off" mornings. But over time, it compounds. The secret here isn't just taking the vitamin, it's that most people don't get enough because they miss the absorption window or combine it with things that interfere with its effect. Doctors rarely mention it because it's not about deficiency in the textbook sense, it's about optimization, something most older adults are never told. And the truly shocking part? You might already be taking supplements, eating healthy meals, and exercising daily, and still missing this crucial piece.
That's why so many people see leg weakness as inevitable when it doesn't have to be. In the next module, we'll uncover the symptoms that reveal you're not getting enough and why recognizing them early can make the difference between struggling quietly and moving confidently every single day.
Now it's time to get personal, because your body has been quietly giving you hints, if you know what to look for. Most people ignore these signals, thinking they're just part of getting older, but in reality, they can reveal whether your legs aren't getting the support they need from this secret vitamin. Pay attention to small things first. Do your calves feel heavier than they used to, even after a short walk? Do your feet get cold or your toes tingle without reason? Do you notice stiffness or a slow wake-up feeling in your legs in the mornings? Maybe climbing a few stairs leaves your legs unusually fatigued, or you find yourself hesitating before standing from a chair because your calves just don't feel ready. These are subtle, almost polite warnings from your body, but if you've had the faint ear ringing or pressure we talked about earlier, they're not so subtle anymore. They're a continuation of the same circulation story, moving from the ears down to the legs over years. And here's the kicker. Many people experience these symptoms for months or even years before realizing they're connected to nutrient support. You might have tried stretching, walking more, even upping your vitamin intake, but these small signs persist because the missing piece isn't effort. It's the right vitamin reaching the right place in your body at the right time. And the uncomfortable truth is this: ignoring these warning signs today can make the heaviness, fatigue, and stiffness harder to reverse tomorrow. But once you recognize them, the body can respond remarkably, often faster than anyone expects, once that missing nutrient is supplied effectively. In the next module, we'll dive into why most people never feel a difference even when they do everything right, eating well, exercising, taking vitamins, and why subtle mistakes are secretly holding their legs back. Here's the frustrating reality that keeps so many people stuck. Even when you do everything right, eating well, exercising, taking vitamins, your legs might still feel heavy, tired, or weak. And it's not your fault. The problem isn't effort. It's hidden mistakes that quietly block the benefits you think you're getting. First, timing matters more than most realize. Taking a supplement at the wrong time of day, with the wrong foods, or without the nutrients that help it absorb can render it almost useless. Second, combinations matter. Some common foods, beverages, or even other vitamins interfere with absorption, so what you think is helping may actually be slowing things down. And third, perhaps the sneakiest issue, many healthy habits people trust actually stress circulation without them realizing. That long walk, the evening stretching, even certain routines meant to improve stamina can backfire slightly when the blood vessels are already compromised. The result? Legs that still fatigue, still feel heavy, still complain silently even when you're following the advice you've been given for years. This is why so many people give up, thinking it's inevitable, while the solution was quietly being blocked all along. And here's the part most people don't notice until much later. Once circulation is impaired for months or years, recovery takes longer. The legs need more consistent support to regain energy and confidence. But knowing the hidden mistakes is half the battle. Once you spot them, you can make small adjustments that dramatically change how your legs feel. In the next module, we'll explore the transformation that better blood flow can bring to daily life, from walking without hesitation to feeling lighter, steadier, and more confident in every step. Imagine what it feels like when your legs finally start getting the support they've been quietly begging for. When blood flows efficiently, muscles receive the nutrients they need, and that persistent heaviness begins to lift. Suddenly, walking around the house or taking a short stroll doesn't leave your calves tight and tired. Stairs feel easier, not exhausting, and standing up from a chair no longer comes with hesitation. Your legs feel lighter, more responsive, like they remember what it's like to work effortlessly. Confidence returns with each step, the kind of confidence you might have taken for granted decades ago, now rekindled. Even small tasks like gardening, shopping, or climbing into bed feel smoother because circulation is finally doing its job. The difference isn't dramatic overnight, but the subtle change is unmistakable. Fatigue fades faster, balance feels steadier, and the legs stop whispering complaints after every minor effort. And the best part?
Once you understand the connection between circulation, nutrient support, and daily activity, you can actively protect this newfound energy, preventing the heaviness, cramps, and coldness from creeping back. It's a shift that feels almost like reclaiming a part of yourself, a part you thought was quietly slipping away with age. But before you celebrate too soon, there's one more reality most people overlook. Knowing the signs and taking action early is far more powerful than trying to reverse months or years of slow circulation decline. In the next module, we'll cover what to watch for before it gets worse, so you can catch subtle warning signals early and maintain this new freedom in your legs. Even with improvements, there's a truth most people never hear. Circulation problems are sneaky, and the earlier you notice the warning signs, the easier they are to manage. You've already seen how ears, legs, and subtle fatigue can signal deeper issues, but there are still small hints most people ignore until it's too late. Watch for slight swelling in the ankles at the end of the day, occasional cramps that strike without exertion, or that slow, stubborn heaviness creeping into your calves after sitting. Notice if your balance feels off for just a second, or if stairs that used to be effortless now demand more effort than expected. These are early whispers, and they're rarely hurt, so they're easy to dismiss, which is exactly why they're dangerous. The pattern is simple but overlooked. Circulation struggles quietly at first, then symptoms intensify, and suddenly daily tasks feel like uphill battles. The subtlety is what traps most people. They assume it's nothing, only to be surprised when it escalates. And here's the uncomfortable reality. Even small delays in responding can make recovery slower, meaning that the heaviness, fatigue, and stiffness linger longer than they need to. But the upside is powerful. Recognizing these signs early allows you to intervene while it's still reversible, using the strategies and nutrients we've been revealing all along. In the next module, we'll tie everything together, showing you how to take control of circulation, leg strength, and overall vitality so that the slow creep of weakness never has the final word. Let's take a step back and connect the dots, because until now, the story might have felt scattered. Ears, legs, subtle fatigue, nutrients, habits, but it all follows one pattern. The body gives quiet warnings before problems become obvious, and the difference between struggling and thriving often comes down to noticing them early and acting correctly. It starts in the ears. Faint ringing, slight pressure, or off-balance moments, signals most people dismiss as just age. Those are the first whispers of circulation strain, and they often appear years before the legs start complaining. From there, heaviness, cramps, cold feet, and subtle fatigue creep into the legs, slowly undermining confidence with each step. Many assume it's just muscle loss, poor fitness, or inevitability, but the truth is deeper. Muscles are only as strong as the blood and nutrients that feed them, and that's where the secret vitamin enters the picture. It doesn't magically build muscle, it supports blood flow, nourishes the muscles, and restores energy where it's needed most. Yet most people never feel a difference because timing, absorption, and daily habits quietly block the benefits they think you're getting. The good news is that once you recognize the early signs, adjust your habits, and ensure the right nutrients reach your muscles, your legs respond remarkably. Steps feel lighter, balance steadier, and confidence returns. And it all comes together in one simple understanding. Listening to your body, connecting the bats, and acting deliberately makes what feels inevitable no longer inevitable. Those subtle warnings in your ears, calves, and feet aren't just annoyances. They're your body giving you the chance to act before things get harder, before fatigue becomes chronic, and before mobility is compromised. The story doesn't end with struggle. It ends with awareness, strategy, and the quiet transformation when the right support reaches the right places at the right time.